Welcome to another episode of Soccerzone Xtra. The name, the Pumuzo Manager, the bold and the beautiful. But the football player, SARS. Coach, this season I falanga, man. Or rivalry season?
Hola, soccer player. I got valley. They call me the Disky Mom, Soccer Mom, because we just brew, you know, we nurture in football. And talking about brewing and nurturing, kuna lama sign about coach abahlala bawabhura. So guys, this season iphelile mara ayikakapheli for thina because uzu coach at I was so yavuma. Then you do the opposite. Oh, coach, bese uyabuza ukuthi ungizwile. Hayi, coaching ngizwile. After miyabuza. Ungizwile ukuthi bengithina bengithina.
Mara mina ke ngabona ngibhekeleli i-under 17 ye South Africa ucoach wakhona. Ngathi akwenzakalani? Kwangasuwe. Ha ucoach wa-under 17 uye lo man.
Ah, usukumtshela ukuthi police ashaya ingwazi urelax. Sizo celebrate asiyekhoneni. You know, but I think that's what makes the league tick. That's what makes the teams tick, you know. And the reason we're on the playoffs, it's which coaches we're enjoying so much to say, this is how we play, we celebrate, we score so that we end up here. And these are the three teams that are in the playoffs right now. We've got University of Pretoria Mattax, Swallows FC, and Cape Town All Stars. It's still 2 games apiece, but clearly you can see who's not going to make it to the final stretch.
Now, you're asking yourself, where do these 3 teams come from? You're looking at Tuks that are sitting on top. They missed on automatic promotion by 2 points with Richards Bay. But you're looking at Cape Town All-Stars, they came 3rd in the Glad Africa. That's why they are here. When you're looking at Swallows, the reason that Swallows is here is because they finished 15th. And when you finish 15th in the Elite League, in the DSTV, it means that you then go off to the playoffs. Playoffs, it means that it's 3 teams that are going to play against each other. It's like a mini league. Whoever wins this mini league will then get promoted to the PSL or will retain their status. That's why we're here now.
We are here now, and if you think about previous season, Iskukune won it and went up. Real AM didn't, and they had to go to the playoffs. They didn't go. Swallows find themselves in the playoffs right now because they are not doing so well. They didn't do so well in the PSL. And if we could just tell a tale, Gangan, Richards Bay almost won the league. Now they won the league. They're up. Itax almost won the league.
Yeah.
Are we telling a story here? I don't know. I don't know. Because Amatax have been in the PSL previously, and they did well. We've seen them in cup games. We've seen them brewing and bringing out young players, new players into the fore because they've got great structure there for them from their academies going up. And Cape Town All-Stars as well, we've seen them doing the same thing where they collect players that are playing in the Western Cape that they represent there. So it's great to see those teams doing well there. So now we are asking ourselves, Guti, will Glad Africa teams be able to overcome this PSL team to make sure Guti, but and this is one of the games that we got to witness, Pumuzo, where we saw Swallows was so much under pressure against Cape Town All-Stars who have had played a game against Itax. And so match fitness be con, and this is what resulted from that match fitness from them.
Figueiredo did not get to start in the previous game when they played against Tuks. In this game, he gets the nod to start the game. This is a man that has scored 3 goals in all competition before this game. He gets his 4th goal in all competition with the goal that he scores here. He is a Swatini international. And you can see a delightful cross. He meets it with a diving header. You could have asked yourself, he was not going to get there with the foot. So you can see the commitment and the dedication from Figueiredo to then try and get in front of the defender, Sussman there, and get a diving header there. And I thought, Cape Town All-Stars, the game is now yours because they led the game for so long, Coach. And I felt that the game management was poor because instead of managing the game through domination of ball position, they decided to manage the game through a low block. They sat down, and by sitting back, they invited Swallows, who made tactical changes and brought in 4 players that really changed the game.
And I think in them doing that, they tried to learn from how they played against the Tuks because they put high pressure and their block was a bit higher because they pressed high or middle, you know, mid-pressing. And in this game, they said, let's just drop it a bit to deny Swallows the space behind, not knowing what Swallows in that know how to circulate the ball. They know how to, because look at them, it's 5 of them at the back, and their defender does not have cover. You are thinking he's got it all under control because right now, you can see Cape Town All-Stars, they have all the numbers in the box, thinking which they'll be able to clear with height and distance. Unfortunate for them, they get punished in this very moment.
When the goal goes in, that's where you need to give the credit to Dylan Solomons. Dylan Solomons, when the season started at Swallows, he was playing as a right winger, coach. They then converted him to go and play as a right back. And when he is at right back, the reason they converted him, they wanted to use the speed and the agility to then go forward, the skill, the explosive speed to then go past players and then bring in the cross. We see him bring in the cross, but in this instance, he does not only cross the ball, he passes the ball because it's a cut back. And he's finding Wambi, who makes the late run into the box. He gets his third goal in all competitions for Swallows, and he brings them back into this game. A defensive midfielder who saw the space and time that was given to him in the box. He attacked that space, one touch to control, and puts the ball in the back of the net. There, I thought there was hope for Swallows. What happened after that, coach?
I think story of their lives, where they always find themselves dropping the ball and losing possession in important areas, because you can count the games against Royal AM, against Sundowns, against Chiefs. They always get to drop the ball because they lose some sort of concentration. But the beautiful thing is that whenever they are able to regain possession, they find ways to say, how do we then pick ourselves up and be able to go forward? Because they can do that. And these are those moments where they're able to say, when we play that long ball, who's going to be there to pick up the second ball? And this is a very much of Hamildeen to say, when he draws you away, he can cross, he can shoot, he can do anything. And there, it's again this man who says, just cross for me, I know what to do. And hence why the coach brought him in to say, let him go in as a striker. And that is a splendid finish, because stretch the defense with the long ball, deep pass, win the second ball and take it wide to bring the cross, because then the Cape Town All-Stars defense was stretched to say, but dropile, but couldn't take care of the second ball. And in not taking care of the second ball, the second phase of defense was for you to close down the spaces. They couldn't do that, and they got punished.
What we can see in that goal, or what we can coach in that goal, is that we see the coach's influence, because when you're looking at Hamaldeen, he came off the bench. Mhlongo, he came off the bench. So this is two strikers that came off the bench to combine for that critical goal. Let's also not forget, when did they score the goal? They scored the goal in the 92nd minute. It means it's the critical phase of the game where they score the goal. So the coach's influence, credit goes to Dylan Kerr, the information that was given to Hamaldeen, who comes off the bench to get his third assist of the season. And then Mhlongo on the far post gets super sub, your Swallows Mhlongo, comes off the bench, gets that goal, and gives Swallows that maximum 3 points.
Pomozo, I mean, we are looking at the playoffs right now, and it all starts automatically. You lose 2 games in the playoff spot, a miracle needs to happen for you to get something. And in this case, it's not going to be that easy for them until they get clear 6 points from the next 2 games they need to play. Tuks and Cape Town All-Stars, they played, and Tuks got to score goals from there. And it was a draw against the Swallows, which means those 2 that are on top, they are on top, and balingana ngama points nje goal difference ebahlukile. And it's the type of play that we are seeing there, because Tuks plays with a 4-5-1 where they are able to say, let's start defensive. When we send it long, anyone is always the man of the hour, Usibanyon, that stays up top there. You see the players that come to join him. It was interesting for me to see, how does Swallows fit against Tuks?
Coach, but he Cape Town All-Stars, he coach here was suspended for midweek. Alan Freeze is suspended. So do you think that will have an effect on the way Cape Town All-Stars approach the game, because their head coach is not available, or the players and the hunger will drive Cape Town All-Stars?
I think it has 2 sides to the coin, because the first one, he's been there, they didn't do well, they didn't win both games. Probably him being away, the second coach or the assistant coach comes in and is in charge. Now they play maybe with saying, let's do it for coach. He's not here. So it could be that extrinsic motivation that comes with coach not being on the bench to say, let's try and go all out for the sake of knowing what Coach Ellen Fries has been doing for the team. Because this All-Stars team is scoring goals. They're just not closing Magmeleba Valley, because they score goals, and it's good goals that they're scoring. They play enticing football as well. Just in which I think it's them also being able to manage the game. Ngogwabo as players, and probably remember now he's up there. He's able,
Eagles view.
And be able to say, okay, now don't move there, do that, bring this one in. It helps, it might not help in terms of your voice on the bench.
There's a player that I'm very interested in. This player is Usibanyon. I followed him when he was still representing the under-20s, the national team. when he graduated to Tuks, then he was in the first team of Tuks. This is a young man that I think has got a lot of potential in terms of scoring goals. He's one of those players that I've been keeping an eye on during these playoffs. He has got 7 goals now in all competitions so far for Tuks. Let's go to him and see what Sibanyoni does, because he scores the beautiful goal when they were playing against Cape Town All Stars. Makubu, his strike partner, good first touch, good layoff, and for him to be able to take this first time, coach, lace technique, going across the goalkeeper, it says a lot about his confidence to say he's high on confidence. This is what Tuks does. They play the long ball. If you don't deal with the second ball, they will hurt you. And in this instance, Cape Town All Stars defense is stretched out. They can't deal with that long ball that is played. But what a first touch from Makubu, second touch to set his striking partner for that goal, and Sibanyoni takes it well, coach. He scores a beautiful goal. Tuks go on to win that game by 3-1. But what happens with Sibanyoni over the weekend?
I think what happens with him is that he's got his confidence, he's got it all going on, and now the pressure is on him. Remember, Iswalo's also got to watch the game to see how does Sibanyoni get the supply, where does he run off to, and who is picking him up. So now he's playing against a defense that is able to say, can we stay back and close him down, or do we give him space? And in this case, he was not given enough space where he could get a first touch, take a shot, where he could run on defenders and all of that. I think Iswalo's Nabo, they did their homework to say, let's make it difficult for him to score. But again, a lethal striker, where our net defender, we are punished all the time. And I think Naye, the pressure got to him a bit, because here he gets to the right, to the ball, a correct technique and all of that. The only thing he needed to do is direct it where it almost comes from, you know, because now it's almost like he defended with so much power and aggression onto the ball, Pomozo.
That's the long ball again. He gets the flick on, but good anticipation, third man running, anticipating where the second ball is going to fall. But as I'm saying, a striker on confidence, a long ball from the goalkeeper, looking for Makubo, it finds Sibanyoni, look at that header, when the ball gets back, on his weaker foot, coach, he's trying to connect on the volley. Unfortunate not to get it on target, but what I love here is the bucket run, is the half-moon run that we always speak about, for him to stay on side, because he's waiting for Barnes to play that ball into space, and he is very lethal when those balls are played in behind the defense. In this instance, coach, I thought composure, take your time, you are in control. He rushed the situation and he couldn't get a goal there.
I think a couple of things happened, because Jody February is coming out and he's closing his first ball, which is what we want to see from the goalkeeper. I think if Barnes would have also continued running, it would have made the goalkeeper to be cautious about what if he cuts back. So now he only had one option and he's under pressure. The goalkeeper is flying at him. Defenders are also closing the angle. If Barnes would have ran, he would have said to him, Antoine, relax and con. Now he's got 2. If it's touchy, can I begazobana? So now he's just going typical striker to say, let it come through and let me take a shot. And while talking about shots, there's this player, Edlalok Swallows. We don't see him taking shots a lot. He's one that spreads the passes. Shama no look pass, uvela chippy ball. Mompegile, you think is just a sleazy, lazy player, but until he gets on the ball, he dances on the ball.
Our fan of Tuks that are watching, this is, let's go to this point that the coach was speaking about. Umahlatsi on the ball, that's the player that we're speaking about. He came off the bench to play in that 8th position. Look at his nippy feet, his ability to then check where he's going to play the ball even before he receives the ball. He plays that ball to the near post for Malinga to be able to attack. But what do you think of the hunger for Malinga, coach? Akatembi man.
I think Umahanga also did, Umalinga didn't anticipate and believe Umahlatsi would get through and bring that cross in, because as a striker, you want to run across. And again, in this instant, you know Umahlatsi will pinpoint and find you. So there, that cross, actually, it's a nice pass into the box. It finds Umalinga standing. And now, la Umahlatsi has to mutaiba for tkhale pass ringli na ki vaele no. Bamkaya, unfortunately, because he's so used to passing and all of that. I felt Gutila, this touch let him down, because he rolls the ball with his laces to his left, to his weak foot, and he doesn't take it extremely to say, let me open so that the goalkeeper, distance between and another goalkeeper is longer. But he keeps it close. Their first touch layer, he could have just passed the net. Because he has the ability to do that. But that happens a lot when you don't find yourself there often enough. It's usually him that makes those passes for Abu Malinga or Abu Hamilton to go into those areas.
You're talking about Mahlatsi here that was playing against his former team. He has played for Supersport Development. He then went to Tax and then moved on to the likes of Swallows. Mahlatsi has been to the Olympics with the under-23s. The now Olympics that we're speaking about, 2021 Olympics, Mahlatsi was there with the under-23s. This is a man to watch. This is a man that if Swallows are to retain the status, Mahlatsi has to shine. Mahlatsi has to buzz. So those are the two players that we were zoning in on. We zoned in on Mahlatsi. We also zoned in on Usibanyoni. So those are the two players that we're pinning our hopes on. If we are a Swallows or if you are a Tax man. That's how the log stands at the moment. Tax has got the goal difference as an advantage here. But the problem is Tax still has to go to Swallows' home ground and try and get maximum points. That game will be the decider for me, coach.
That home ground will be at Lucas Masterpieces Muri. So it will be in Pretoria. So it's almost like Swallows Bazabi Babolegi home ground. Yeah, Tax, you know. Yeah. So I think Swallows is on a high only if they take their chances and show the experience from the Premier League, because Itax is hungry. They don't care what's happening. They run for everything. They kick everything. They go. And I saw the coach actually this morning, Coach Lisani, and I said to him, Coach, you are doing well. I see you are in the gym. You are pushing. And he says, you must be ready for these things because running up and down on the bench, on the touchline with these young ones, you need to, because so it means he's relaxed. He's taking care of his health to say football will kill you, but I must kill it first by training and making sure my team is on the rise. And talking about the rise, the women's football is on a rise a lot more.
Before you lap, Coach.
Yeah.
Before you lap, what do you think is the role of Sammy Troughton as the technical director? Does he add an extra brain as an advantage over the other teams? His experience, having coached in the PSL before, having coached Tax, the likes of ACES, he's there as the technical director to coach Mutaung, who's the head coach at Tax. How do you think working with a technical director makes a coach feel?
I think most times a technical director, when they're on the bench with the coach, they put pressure on the coach or they make it easy for the coach. In putting pressure for the coach, you find the coach saying, I can't make my own decisions because this technical director, he's the boss, he's the ears to everybody, and he's going to check my every move. And when you've got a technical director that says, what is your plan? What do you want to do? This is how you can do it, and I'll help you in this way. He sees things in a bigger scope of things and is able to break things down for you, because as a coach, you are usually focused on the game so much. We are caught. There's some finer details. And by the look of things, Lea Recipe Leana, by three labo coach abalapaya, there's head coach, assistant coach, and the technical director who is hands-on as well, which means there's a lot of great things. They're on playoffs. They lost out on 2 points. So it must be a technical director that is not going in there to take charge and interfere. Agarana session, stop, start, there, then it's a problem. Because then head coach, you take away the power of head coach. On match day, the head coach is the one that must talk now. But during sessions and all of that, he doesn't have the influence.
I'll be unfair if I don't ask the coach about the experience that Dylan Kerr has, because he went to TTM, he saved them from relegation. He went to Baroka, he saved them on the last day of the season. Now, Dylan Kerr, do you think he has got advantage over these coaches that are in the playoffs in terms of his experience, having done it twice to save the status of a PSL team? Do you think he has got the advantage looking at Tax and Cape Town All-Stars?
I don't think he has the advantage, simply because we've spoken about 3 guys that are on the other side. Head coach, assistant coach, no Sammy Troughton. Sammy Troughton was there with Steve Barker when they were in the PSL, when they went from NFD to when it was still NFD to the PSL. Sammy Troughton has also been there with the build-up of Itax from their junior ranks going up. So I'm just putting it there to say both benches are equally capable. Dylan Kerr, the advantage he has is that he's in direct contact with the players compared to Sammy Troughton, who has to be in direct contact with the coach more. So Dylan Kerr has that a bit of the edge to say he's been in those situations and he knows how to stimulate players in certain areas to do this, to do that. He prep your corner to say, let me train more, let me train less, because these players just need this. It's a wafa match where they need to win and all of that. But right now, the experience yaga coach, it will play to a certain extent. The rest is up to the players to say, Bane PMT on the day. Do they understand how close or far away they are? because if any of the two drop the points, abo coach bangayibona 3 points izakahle.
Imele siye ku Hollywood bets,
Yeah.
ne? But before Sam, Swallows has got players that are on loan there. Like Usaleng is on loan from Pirates.
Yeah.
There's Abo Makaman, they are on loan from Sundowns.
Sundowns.
Do you think those players' minds are still focused on saving Swallows, or they're thinking of going back to their teams? How do you deal with that as a coach?
They need to be focused. You must deal with what's at hand right now. That is very important for players to understand, Guti. What works now is important. Because here's the thing. Abafethu thina noma singa relegate wasiyavaya. Mawuthi uyafika le bathi Antwana buyela. Uyobuyela kuphi? Usidlisile.
Yeah.
Because when uze nge-mentality yokuthi mina ngiyabuyela ngine-contract le Pirates,
Yeah.
ngine-contract e-Sundowns.
Yeah.
And also, la une-contract khona, why bakulone out? So those are the things you must check. Now i-performance yakho throughout the season you check. And if you look at Saleng, he's been doing well, just not working to their advantage as much. That's why Bala Bakona
Yeah,
Njengam.
yeah.
Magaman, the same thing. Remember, Magaman played AMA playoffs ne Ajax Cape
Yeah,
Town.
the Ajax, yeah.
And then he was signed. Then he had to be loaned out. And he's been outstanding for me. Longest serving member also Ajax coming here.
Bazongchika.
Yeah.
You're Cape Town All-Stars.
Yeah.
Let's also touch on their technical team, because their coach is suspended for Wednesday's game. He's not available. Alan Fries, he has won trophies with Platinum Stars. He has been around the PSL for a while. He's not on the bench. How does it affect the technical team?
It affects them in a big way to say, Bayo Dingi voice ka coach. At the same time, if they want to change, if voice ka coach and do their own tactics, their own things, it will affect them. But if they continue on what coaches, because the coach une red card, Pelu suspended Pela on sitting on the bench, but preparing the team, he's been in charge, he's been doing things. Guys, this is what we are doing, this is that, this is that. So in an advantage, in a sense, you've got a technical person who knows exactly what's happening with that team, and he's able to give them even more depth analysis as a grandstand to say, move this one there, move that one there, direct information that there. Inking akuphela ukuthi ama players azoyizwa na voice. Yeah, my assistant coach, because isikhathi nesithing sebajwayele voice kamadala ukuthi uzofika athi hey, watch this, watch that. But now it's a younger coach that says, bafethu asiye nakushesheni.
Yeah.
Ayiphuma akusheshe manje.
No.
Ngicela ukuthi zihambe manje.
Mamela. Done with the playoffs. Siya ku Hollywood bets, man. We're going to women's football, man. Hey, Sundowns ayidliwa but siyaza lapho. Coach, Golden Ladies, City Lads, there's relegation this season,
Yeah.
Coach? Let's just remind the viewers. If you are in 15 and 16, we are relegator. I say kolentele ukuthi ayikho team enga relegator.
13, 14, 15, 16. Vasco and City Lads are debutants coming into the, because badlali finally ama-Sasol playoffs. Itsunami Queens and Golden Ladies. Bahlala ba-alternator with being number 13 and number 14, because now it's 16 teams. Previous season it was 14 teams. So bayijwayele le ndawo abahleli kuyo. Bayijwayele le ndawo abahleli kuyo.
Bajwayele ukuthi akuphunywa. Manje kuyaphunywa.
And the challenge that is there, and the reality, Pumuzo, there, Uguti, those teams at the bottom, most of their great players, they get picked up by the top 8.
Okay.
Their best players are picked up by the top 8 because they've got better resources, better a lot of things. And also players now check hey, career yami improve amangdlala kuyiphi team because of training, because of coaching, because of a lot of things. So laba balapezansi, it's bad for them. 2 points each. And ukhulume ngama-L njengamanje, it's refreshing to see all the teams in the
Refreshing?
Yeah, it's refreshing. Then asidlali Farmers League.
Professional?
Yeah, it's a semi-professional league where you are finding players that, because the reality of it, Pomozo, Uguti, women that are playing in this league, a lot of them are employees, they are working elsewhere, and they get to play football as well because they don't get paid a full-on salary. Some of them get a stipend, some of them get salary, some, like Sundowns has better. Abanye batholi imali transport phela to come there because they stay in clubhouses, abanye they need to travel there.
When I look at Sundowns, and under L there is one. Previous seasons, Mamelodi Sundowns has lost games in the boardroom.
Only one.
In the boardroom.
Yeah.
But now, this season, we saw UWC beating them by 2-0, Coach. What do you think was the key in Mamelodi Sundowns being defeated because we know that they are a powerhouse, they are an unbeatable team, but we saw the likes of Holweni getting a goal against Mamelodi Sundowns, and they lost that game by 2-0. What happened there?
Few things play a part. Right now, you get to see games streamed. You get to see games, not to say our Vesa, we have double headers, triple headers. So teams are able to analyze and watch matches. Because you analyze kanjani uphumuthi ungakazumbona uzwile bathi hayi indoda ende lapha umabheka phezulu kuphela
ushaya ngekhanda, ushaya ulimale.
mara ukazumbone because awazi ukuthi ushaya ngekhanda eceleni or la. So now the advantage is that we get to show those games. They are streamed also on YouTube everywhere you go. You go to our SABC channels, you find those games. Teams get to analyze and go into details. And you can only do that and beat a team like Mamelodi Sundowns when you've got a great squad, when you are tactically confident. And tactically confident, because you can be tactically superior, but mongeko confident. I wish I Sundowns. And that's how EUWC beat Sundowns. They beat them because they planned thoroughly for them to say, ground is not as big. Sundowns wants a big field for space so that Bawas will knock back stretching information here. So UWC went in there and said, we'll play, have a low block. When the time is right, we'll get the ball and punish you. Two brilliant goals that they scored. And it was because they kept on probing and pushing. And Mamelodi Sundowns on the day could not match up and say, let's step up and win that game.
It also says a lot about the game management of UWC, because we saw Tracy scoring in the 13th minute, Olweni scores in the 30th minute, but then they still managed to manage the game and see the game out with a 2-0 scoreline. I thought that was brilliant. The influence and the experience that Olweni brings from that Banyana team is vital for this UWC team.
It's very vital. That UWC team has a mix of previous under-17, under-20 players, and current Banyana players. By the way, they've got 5 players that are called into the national team from EUWC. This means the league is improving and it's very competitive. And this is the competitiveness we are talking about. This is a player who has now 11 goals that she scored under her name, Andisiwe Mqoi. She has been a striker that works hard and makes sure to get on the score line, get on the score sheet. And it was a top-of-the-table clash, Pumuzo. This is the reason.
You can't just say that. That's a flick. That's a back heel from Mpumi Nyandeni. Look at the quality. She does not even check where the goalkeeper is. She knows where the goalkeeper is. She knows where she's making the run. She knows where the near post is. One of my favorite players. Joint top goal scorer last season.
This is a 34-year-old that knows what it means to be on the field to score goals for fun. And here, I'm looking at it and I'm asking myself, is it a penalty? And second glance of it...
Actually, deflects off the body.
Yeah.
Deflects off the player's body onto the hand, and that is not a penalty. But they get given, they score it.
Yeah. Yeah, Diba Palu Rigai, and all her players know. This is why Sundowns has scored all those goals that they've scored. There are above 40 goals that they've scored. Already na 8 games.
Yeah,
you know why?
Games.
Because look at Rhoda. She's a goal scorer herself. When she crosses for Andisiwe to score, for a Salume to score, for a Khadiete when she's on the field to score, for a Michelle Minis to score. And when she's not passing, somebody's passing her to score. Andisiwe scores. And it's so beautiful to watch this. Look at Mpumo Munyuzocha, 34-year-old, Pelile, Gupi, Uswito.
We always speak about passing the ball in the back of the net. We speak about composure. We speak about telling a man, that's what Mpumi Nyandeni does in that situation. We're speaking about a Mamelodi Sundowns team that has scored 4 goals in this past weekend. But Mamelodi Sundowns are the highest scoring team with 42 goals that they've scored. JVW are the second best scorers with 25 goals. Then you've got Richmond that have got 24 goals. The gap between best scorers and second best scorers, 42 and 25. That gap is too big.
Sundowns are now because all of us need to be cognizant of the fact that these are African champions. This team has more trophies of winning leagues. In this Hollywood Bets, they've already won it twice. This is the 3rd time that they're chasing that title to defend it and do it with so much prowess and pizzazz. So for me, it's the team that's there. the coach is building. Their first game, they won 2-1 against Ima Indies. A lot of the people were out there to say, is this the fall of Mamelodi Sundowns and all of that? And the coach says, no, I'm building. There's younger players that he's bringing in and making sure they fit into the system. They have to go and defend their title, Champions League. So also, the other thing that makes it easy for them to be able to get such results against any opposition, it's because they've got million centre backs that are able to replicate what the first team will do. If coach takes 10 out of the first team, first starting lineup, and he brings in 10, it's a mirror image. And that's why formation Yabo stays the same. They play with a 3-5-2. Sometimes you find Roda up there with Andisiwe. Sometimes you find there's a wing back. Karabo Dlamini is in there. You find there's a wing back, or you find there in there. Chweni is in there as a left wing back, or now Salume is there as a left wing back. The three centre backs, Banyana is there, Mbane and Tiseto are there as well. You've got the goalkeepers that play for the national teams there. Andile plays for national team.
With you boasting so many names, Coach, I would then come back to you and say the best defense in the Hollywood bets is UWC. They've only conceded 5 goals. Mamelodi Sundowns and Celtic are joined second best with the 7 goals that they've conceded. Then you've got JVW that have conceded 9 goals. So the Sundowns game is not great in everything, at least in this league. Yes, they are the best scorers with 42, but the best defense in the league is UWC, and I have to give credit to them to say they are doing something right.
They are doing something right. They have the best defense because they've also got goalkeeper of the season in 2021's Hollywood bet season. Rigel Ngobeni, she has been top. And if you could see her positioning, no, she sits and reads the game when she has to come out. Aerial prowess yake is brilliant. Shot stopping yake is brilliant. And she's one of those goalkeepers that are able to say, if we do a goal kick, she's able to kick from there. They've also acquired Umhlongo from EUWC, who's now also called up into Banyana. That player for me was with the under-17s, went with me to the World Cup in 2018. She played for the under-20, captained the under-20, and she's been called up to Banyana, Lona Temba Mhlongo. She's there. You find these other young players on the wings. You've got Makama, also went to the World Cup. You've got Zondi. Now they've got their captain back, Ubongeka Kamete. You've got that central midfield. Holweni is in there. Amuhelang Mutau is called. She's been in there. It's long overdue for some of those players to be in that national team. So this tells you, Guti, when you've got great players, they are well coached, they well trained, they also willing to put in the work. It means a lot for them because to be quite honest with you, the league is so interesting that UJ is doing so well, UWC is doing well, Ma Indies is Celtics is doing well. You know, TUT needs to come to the party, but they don't need to come to the party. They just have to step up because everyone else is stepping up. They are showing up and showing what Bawazuglal. Coal City Wizards is doing the same thing. So top 8 right now is competitive. I can't wait to see what the second round is going to look like because we've got a jammed-packed program. There's Alcon that's coming up. They are going to Morocco. It starts from the 2nd of July. There's a CAF Champions League that's coming up. There's COSAFA that's coming up. And these players will be in the national teams back and forth. They'll be playing Champions League, which means you need depth in your squad. Any league gunning, ilahlegang second round.
Now, after all that coach have said, there's 2 games that have caught my attention. JVW, when they won by 10 goals to 2. Mamelodi Sundowns, when they scored by 11 goals to 0. Those 2 teams have gotten to double figures in terms of goals scored in a game. Who else is going to do it? Let's wrap it up, Coach. What do you see happening this weekend with the fixtures in the Hollywood bets?
So tomorrow, Wednesday, teams are playing again. So it's a jammed-packed program. Wednesday, all the teams are playing. And also over the weekend, we get to see teams. So I know there's a lot of teams that are going away. There's home games. But the beauty of it is that you get to see these games streamed. SABC Sport, you get to see them, YouTube and all of that. Just go Hollywood bets, games you get to see. And you get to see these great players and see these great games that are out there. I was also impressed by, for the first time, we saw a goalkeeper making 11 saves, which means there were 11 goals on target. And she saved that. Teledi was also one of the players that I watched in a game, my Indies up against the Bloemfontein Celtics. It was great to see. And it's not only Mamelodi Sundowns and JVW at the top. So we look at it here. This Sunday, we've got Bloemfontein Celtic up against Golden Ladies. There's going to be a humdinger. Already you can see, Guti, Punya sele sele itlabe itra punya
Second-
ntho tse ding
Second
haholo
best
moo.
defense,
Yeah.
Celtic against Golden Ladies, who are sitting at the bottom of,
Yeah,
of the
worst
log.
defense.
It's going to be an interesting game. Richmond, for me, who are the third best scorers in the league, playing against City Lads, who are second from bottom.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting game also on SABC.
Yo, I thought we were not going to have a lot to talk about. But we did say, hey, Zobek formation, you know,
Yeah.
because it's story of our lives. We talk football and we love talking football because we know we get teaching moments, we get exciting moments. Kuna mamumish, kuna zozonke, we get to unearth players and all of that. Bagiti, siyabonga ukuthi nikwazile ukuthi nisibukele namhlanje ku Soccerzone Xtra. Ningaphuthela nangesonto elizayo sizobe sila namthanga wa hashu bakhombidza nga Soccer Bay. Phumudzo manager.
Ni sale zwavhuḓi ri khou livhuwa ri no ri joina kha yone Soccerzone Extra. Ni a ḓivha uri ni ri wana gai, ni ri wana kha Instagram, kha Twitter, kha social media zote @theball27 @Simphiwe Dludlu, ndi hone ni nga ri wana hone. Ni ambe na ri nga bola. Bola a i ri netisi, ya ri takadza. Ri nga dzula ḓuvha ḽoṱhe ramba bola na vheni. Bye bye.